Today's discussion delves in the critical issue of gender neutrality in sexual violence laws. The aim of this discussion would be to understand the current legal landscape in India today, the challenges faced by the communities, such as non binary individuals and men in particular, and the necessary reforms required to foster an inclusive framework. By this discussion, we would like to highlight the importance of recognizing the pain undergone by these survivors and promoting justice for everyone who is affected by sexual violence. My guest here today is esteemed Ma'am Yasmeen Mohammed Sabir, a dedicated legal professional who has a wealth of experience in dispute resolution. She shares a great passion for litigation, labor disputes, insolvency laws, and her commitment to advancing legal practices make her a remarkable guest for today. We thank you so much for having being here with us, ma'am. I would like to start this conversation if you could explain to the audience what exactly does gender neutrality in laws mean in India today?
To begin with, we all know that traditionally all the laws which are framed concerning the sexual offenses are mainly protecting women, and there are laws which are made taking into consideration that all the time victims are women. But right now, the situations have evolved. We are in a society which has been constantly changing. And right now, we are facing a situation wherein it's not only women, there are a lot of men, those who are facing a lot of sexual assault. There are a lot of sexual offenses which are being committed against not only women, there are men, there are non-binary community, there are transgender, those who are suffering these kind of assault in today's time. So far we were governed by IPC, which was made colonial time,
Yes.
1860, and right now we are in 2024. So definitely the time has changed, the society has evolved, and right now we have Bharati Nyaya Sanhita 2023, which is an effective from 1st of July. So when we say we want gender neutral law, what we actually mean that if any sexual offense has been committed, then the person who is committing the offense should not be tried and punished based on his or her gender. If any individual, irrespective of their gender, is being has been put to sexual assault, then there should be a law. There should be machinery who is supporting such kind of assault, who is punishing the person, the offender, irrespective of their gender. That's what we are looking at right now when we talk about gender neutral law to protect the individuals rather than any particular gender from sexual offenses or sexual assaults.
Ma'am, do you feel that with the coming in of the new laws,
Hmm.
replacing the old laws, that we have taken a step further in recognizing gender neutrality, or you feel like we are on the same level and there's not enough action being taken?
Unfortunately, if you ask, in my personal opinion, we have not progressed further. If we talk about IPC or BNS, if you look at the definition of rape, the
Right.
definition remains the same. It is protecting women, it is protecting one gender. We do not have sufficient, or we do not have the laws which are protecting men, non binary, transgender. There is nothing in BNS. All of you must be aware right now, today itself, Supreme Court is sitting and testing one of the provisions of rape, wherein, marital rape is in question
Correct.
because so far in marriage it is being stated that man has a right to have sexual favors from his partners, but right now the question has arisen whether a woman being in married, irrespective of her consent, can she be asked to give sexual advances to her husband without having her consent. So that issue is being put before the Supreme Court, but unfortunately there is nothing which is being discussed in the society before Supreme Court, or there are no much conversation debate which is happening with regard to protecting the rights of men, non-binary, transgender. So in my opinion, we are still lacking behind. There is still scope for us to improvise the existing law and to bring in the new laws which will protect other gender apart from women.
Right. So my next question would be that now if I'm a man and I feel victim of rape or any kind of sexual crime, what happens to me? How do I like go and like try to get justice for myself? Is there any way, be it with IPC or any other provision? Of course, we have POXO, which is for children, but if I'm an adult over 18, is there any provision for me
Hmm.
to seek justice in today's landscape?
So as you rightly mentioned, POXO is one of the laws which is governing the sexual offences irrespective of the gender of individual. But you are right in saying that that is protecting the rights of the individual, those who are minor, those who are not falling in the category of major. So your question is very right. If a major is suffering such kind of sexual assault, that what remedy is available to him? Earlier, Section 377 of the IPC, that was a very limited section, I would say, under IPC. It was, before it was decriminalized, it was protecting the rights of the men as well, wherein the men had a right to go and report any sexual offense against them, because Section 377 included men, women simultaneously. But after the amendment to that act, I believe right now that protection has reduced down. But absolutely, I cannot say that you don't have a remedy. You still can go and report it to the police machinery. They will definitely take action against the assault which is committed against any individual, men, transgender, or non binary. But yes, there is nothing much in law in today's time so that I can guide you that under these provisions of law, and there is one specific law under which you can go and seek remedy for yourself, unfortunately.
So, in this situation, are there any countries outside which we can take inspiration from to follow their legal model, like any particular country which has gender neutral laws when it comes to sexual violence?
Absolutely. There are many countries in today's world, those who are having gender neutral laws. Even if they were not having, they have changed, they have modified the law to ensure that they have gender neutral laws to protect men and other genders simultaneously, apart from women. So, if we talk about the countries, I would like to give examples of UK. UK has got Sexual Offences Act 2003. They have their definition of sexual offences is made in such a manner that it not only includes women but it includes a person of any gender. So under Sexual Offences Act, a person of any gender can seek recourse to law. He can take there are machinery provided under the acts, and they can they can approach the appropriate authority to seek justice. UK is one of the example. Apart from that, Canada is also in the same line. Canada has got criminal code. That criminal code has got laws which are neutral gender when it comes to sexual assault. So any individual can approach the judiciary to seek justice under the criminal code which is existing in Canada. Apart from Canada, Australia is also in the same line. There is criminal act which is protecting the right of individuals of all the genders. And similarly, we have laws in South Africa, that is Criminal Laws Act Amendment 2007. So, South Africa has also amended its law to ensure that there are laws which are gender neutral, which are protecting each individuals in today's time. So, if you ask me, these are good examples for India to consider, to look upon them, the kind of laws which they're having today. Apart from law, if they have got lot of judicial precedents which are created through these laws for protecting individuals, for protecting men, non-binary. We should look upon these laws, we should look upon the precedents which is being set by judiciary through various case laws and judgments when we are considering making changes in Indian laws.
Right. So, coming to the judicial precedents, right now, as we have established, there's not enough not enough provisions legally for somebody who's a non-binary person or a man to actually deal with sexual violence. Now, in the absence of this, what approach has the court taken, right? Because we see in Arnish Kumar, they say that they've given guidelines, but that's again to do with dowry deaths. But again, in such cases, what approach have the courts taken?
So there is a very interesting case which I recently read. It is 2024 judgment which is being passed by Delhi High Court. It is in the case of Sundari Kumari versus Union of India, 2024 judgment. It's a very interesting judgment dealing with POXO.
Mhm.
So POXO law is while this law was created, it was very clear that it is for the protection of every individual, irrespective of the gender of perpetrator who is committing the offense. So, Sessions Court at Saket had framed charges against a woman under Section 6 of POCSO, that women challenged that framing of charges before the High Court and sought quashing under Section 482 of the CRPC. While hearing this matter, this petitioner argued before the court that Section 3 and 5, which are talking about aggravated penetrated sexual offenses, the Section 3 itself start with the word he.
Right.
So if a section is starting with the word he which is directed towards one particular gender, which is male gender. So any offense which is committed either under section 3 or section 5 is extension of section 3. So anything which is committed, any offense which is committed either under 3 or 5, a female or a woman cannot be punished since the section begins with the word he. So, while in answer to that, the state says that even though the section begins with the word he, however, this section has got the word person. In fact, it begins with the person and then it has got he. I may stand corrected myself. So it start with the word person, and it while punishing a person, it says that the person who should be punished, it's he. So therefore, instead of considering he someone who is the offender, it should be given effect in such a manner that any individual of any gender should be punished if he is committing or she is committing an offense under section 3 and 5 of the act. While answering this question, Delhi High Court has very rightly upheld that POCSO is a gender neutral act which is protecting a child or a person from any gender. And while making this law, it was made very clear that this law is protecting right of every individual, irrespective of the person's gender who is committing the offense. Therefore, the challenge was rejected by the Delhi High Court, saying that if a woman has committed an offense under the act and a child has been affected, then she is liable to be tried and punished as per the provisions of law. So yes, this is a very good example. Another case which I had read about, this was again from the Delhi High Court. Again, Delhi High Court. It was a defamation case wherein criminal charges was initiated by a woman against a man, saying that this is a fair case for criminal defamation. But after trial, Delhi High Court very rightly held that the allegations which were put forth against the individual, the man, were incorrect. And while passing the judgment, the Delhi High Court made very good observation, stating that while a person is put to a charge of a criminal offense, he goes through a lot of things. So, irrespective if it is a man or if it is a woman, if false allegations are made against him and he has to go through the whole procedure, it's a mental harassment to him. So, such kind of action should not be promoted, and a person who is indulging into such activity, necessary steps should be taken against them for not harassing men at the same time. So these are good example. We are going in a right direction. There are courts, there are judges who are sitting and passing necessary orders while considering the trauma, the harassment which men are going through. And they are giving a direction to the legislator that there is a clear need for we going in this direction and making something concrete which is fulfilling the need of everybody.
Right. That was very insightful. Ma'am, the other question I would like to ask you is that let's assume that we even the laws change and from like even in BNS and IPC from it changes to any person from man. Will this truly have on the legal perspective? Then we still get we get the meaning. But then how does it help in changing the social stigma around men when they want to report such crimes? Like if I go and now I have an availability of me to report the crime, how do I face the social stigma? Is there something that we as law students, as advocates can do? Can social workers help in this particular sphere of like day of making the social stigma less?
Absolutely. If you ask me, there are a lot of social stigmas which men carry on their shoulder, on their head. So basically, when it comes to first, if we talk about reporting of such kind of sexual assaults, so in our society, Indian society, or you consider any other society, it's very common wherein men are supposed to be act as powerful, not so vulnerable. They are supposed to stay strong, and they are never considered in the category of victims. So first of all, the main blockage for men non-binaries, I would say, is to come forward and report such kind of assaults which are happening with them. And one of the more one of the most